Coming in as the away fighter to this arena, obviously by default you're kind of coming in as the B side, but did you feel maybe a little bit disrespected in the build up to this, maybe people overlooking you coming into the fight?
You know, I never really buy into the media that much. I don't really watch it. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. So I'm always confident within my own abilities because I train hard. So I put all my confidence within my preparation for fights. You know, I don't let what people say or what gets posted online affect my mentality.
I've been to New Zealand myself many years ago, absolutely loved the place, and I was fascinated by the Maori culture. In particular, I noticed the sadness that there is within the culture, that a lot of the young guys maybe get driven down the wrong road, and I know you've had your own battles and struggles in that regard. Do you feel a responsibility when you step into nights like this to maybe lead by example, to be a shining light in your community?
Yeah, most definitely, and I want to thank you for asking that question because it's not a question that get asked very often. You know, Maldives in general and New Zealand in general, we have a high suicide rate, and that it comes from like we have this mentality where we cannot talk about our problems, we cannot share our issues, and we're surrounded by, you know, not the right environment. So like for me, I feel like I'm a person that is in New Zealand that the youth, that the kids, and even the adults can look up to and be like, hey, listen, he did everything that he did correctly, and look where he is, and he can make it. So maybe we can as well. Because I'm just a little Maori boy from New Zealand. You know, I was sleeping under bridges when I was a kid. Now I'm fighting main event in Belfast. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. So for me, I want to lead the way for not only Maori, for troubled youth across the entire world.
That's inspiring stuff, man. Congratulations, great win.
Thank you.
Congratulations, JJ, on a brilliant finish. Can you talk us through that finish in there? It looked absolutely violent from the outside.
Yeah, so that kick I landed, that left kick, is actually one of my very good friends named Saeed. He's a heavyweight, but this heavyweight moves like a lightweight. The guy is crazy. He's very good. So we named the kick after him. It's called the Saeed kick. And I landed that Saeed kick, and then I sat on my base. I saw that the body kick landed, sat on my left hook, and then he fell. You know, I was like, oh my God, it worked. And then I ran in and got the finish.
Let me talk to you about the walkout tune, Sweet Caroline. That is a classic over here in Northern Ireland. Was there thought behind picking that?
Oh, most definitely. You know I'm coming into enemy territory. I know I'm going to walk out here. Everyone's going to boo. So I was like, you know, I'm going to walk out to Sweet Caroline because no one can hate that song. And then I walked out to it. Everyone was singing. I was like, perfect. Now at least I can steal a couple of the fans, you know?
That's a huge win in the lightweight division. You know, taking out Darragh Kelly like that, someone that was undefeated. What do you want next? Surely one more fight, and you're definitely close to the title.
Yeah, I think my next fight should be Alfie Davis in June. They're having a card in San Diego, so I'm definitely looking to fight Alfie Davis in June. I think that'll be a great fight. He's in need of somebody with a big name to be able to get a title shot again. And, you know, I'm the guy. I just came off a big win, so I'll go out there and finish him, and then I can be in line for the title.
That's a great fight. Congratulations, JJ.
Thank
JJ,
you.
congratulations. Just got one question for you. How are you going to celebrate tonight after this upset victory?
I'm going to drink a lot of Guinness.
Right on. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
JJ, congratulations on a brilliant performance. Obviously, you've been speaking very highly of the Irish fans, but how sweet did it kind of feel to come in and silence the crowd like that in such a short period of time?
It was great. You know, for me, it's just to get that knockout. You know, I train so hard. I train every day. My life has been crazy. I've gone through a lot of adversities during my life to come out here. And I feel like this was my make or break moment. You know what I mean? This is my breakthrough moment. I finished this guy, and I'm the top in the world. So to come out there and do this in the fashion that I did and make a statement, it means the world to me. You know, the crowd is just a cherry on top, you know?
And in the kind of coverage in the build-up to the fight, you talked about, obviously, your youth and your upbringing and how you're troubled, but you kind of found the escape into MMA. Obviously, in Ireland, like any other country, there's a lot of youth problems, but how important do you feel MMA is an outlet to kind of escape that reality?
You know, for a lot of troubled youth, you know, they're involved with like gang violence, maybe their parents not very good examples, and being able to go to the gym and train and have something to look forward to. And like when you go, it's not just training that helps, it's the people that you're around and they support you. Like when you're in the gym, you meet good people, and those people give you opportunities to, have work, to travel. They support you, and that takes you out of those environments where those bad influences are. The people that are, pushing you to do crime or fight people on the street or stuff like that. It puts you in a better environment. So I think that MMA is a great place for troubled youth, because that gives them an outlet, and that gives them a place where they can meet good people.
And obviously you were scheduled to fight Paul Hughes now in the build-up, but obviously with a win like that, do you think the ship has sailed on that fight, or could you still look into it in the future?
I think Paul Hughes is going to be missing in action for a little while. He's just had surgery, so he's going to be out maybe for the next 6 months to a year. So, he's going to be missing in action for a little bit. We may revisit that fight again in another year or so, but I'm going to be looking for Alfie for my next fight.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations again. So also, if Paul Hughes does get back, and that is something in the future, would you be interested in a return to Belfast or Ireland?
Yeah, 100%. This is actually my second fight in Ireland. I had a fight in Dublin. That was a great fight, great crowd. I fought Mansour Benawi, and I loved it. This is a great country. I'd love to come back here, and if it's against Paul Hughes, then let's do it.
Yeah, and also with Darragh, he has a track record of submission victories. Were you expecting to have the striking exchanges so early, or were you expecting to be able to show off some wrestling defense?
In my mind, I thought that he was going to shoot pretty early, and I was, planning to let my hands go for a little bit and then force grappling kind of towards the end of the rounds. I thought that as the longer the fight went on, the more in favor it went for me. I thought my cardio would win. And my experience would win over him, my fight IQ. So, I was planning to drag the fight on, but then I caught him, and then that was all she wrote.
JJ, that was a spectacular finish there. I think the staff in the arena have got you to thank, really, because you emptied the seats in that place very, very quickly. How does it feel, really, to get that win, to get you back on track to the title? Because obviously last year was full of ups and downs for yourself, obviously having to pull out the tournament, and obviously that loss to Archie Colgan as well. How important is that victory for you in that fashion?
I want to thank you for bringing up the Archie Colgan fight. Not many people know that, but I broke my jaw going into the after the fight with Mads Bernal in training, and then I had surgery. I had 2 plates put in here, 1 plate here. I had a complete break through this side and a complete break here, and then I was on the couch drinking beans, blending beans and drinking it. I couldn't even open my mouth for about 2-3 months. So there was no training for about 2-3 months. And then they offered me to fight. It was actually Paul Hughes to start. And I said, yeah, let's do it. It was about 4 weeks. I said, yeah, let's do it. I hadn't been training, no nothing, no sparring. And then I got changed to Archie Colgan. I said, yeah, let's go, whatever. And then I actually had 3-week training camp. So 3 weeks of sparring. My first sparring, I put on headgear, and I was terrified. I was like, didn't want to get hit. And then by the end of the 3 weeks, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable. And then I went out there and fought Archie Colgan. So I didn't really have I don't want to make excuses. I don't want to say that, anything like that. But, keep going, yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So I don't want to make any excuses about that fight, but I didn't have a full training camp. Tonight I had a full training camp, so you can see the difference when I do and when I don't.
Yeah. And then the last one from me, just circling back to that finish as well. It seems like the left hook has been the storyline for this past week. Obviously, Carlos Ulberg won the title in the UFC with that left hook. Chelsea Hackett dropped her opponent as well with a left hook as well, and you finished that. Is that shot specifically without the kick? Is that shot something that you always have in your locker, and that power is something for your opponents to be scared of?
Most definitely. That check hook is money.
Yeah.
That check hook is money. I love the check hook. Originally, I'm from New Zealand. Carlos Ulberg used to train with us. I used to train with him when I was living back in New Zealand. Very, very good friend of mine. Landed a beautiful check hook. Now he's the champion. And, tonight I landed that check hook. And that's, I have power in my hands. So I'm glad that tonight I got to go out there and use it.
Come on, you set yourself up for a big 2026. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, congrats congratulations. Obviously, you went out there and I came over to Belfast, enemy territory. Darragh Kelly was never actually beaten in MMA up until that point. He got it done that quick in the first round. How did it feel to get the win like that?
What was that? I'm sorry.
How did it feel to get that win?
You know, Darragh Kelly, he's a very tough guy. When I saw him, I go, oh my God, that guy's a bodybuilder. He's humongous, you know, he's fucking jacked. I was like, God damn, I gotta fight that guy. You know? And I was like, whatever, we got there, we do it. And then, you know, he has a great record. But, you know, there was some holes there. I looked at his record, I said, yeah, he finished everybody, but who has he fought, you know? I always put myself in positions where I'll always fight the best opponents that I could possibly can ever since I started. I had my debut in Bellator, and ever since then I always asked for the toughest opponent. So I made sure I was always tested and I've been battle tested.
Obviously, a win like that probably get your name bigger. It'll probably go quite viral. It's a pretty bad KO. And we're here tonight in Belfast. Do you think that's going to give you the opportunity as you try and higher those ranks to potentially get a fight back in New Zealand?
Yeah, so that is my goal, you know. My dream is to fight back home as the main event with the bout, all for the bout. You know, that's always been my dream. And to be able to bring PFL to New Zealand is going to be amazing for New Zealand itself, you know, because we're going to be able to put a lot of the local talent on the shows. The best fights in the world happen in New Zealand. You go to a local rugby club, they're having fights in the weekend, you'll see some of the best fights that you've ever seen in your life. It's insane, you know. I was back there fighting on a day notice. The fights, kickboxing over there is insane. The MMA over there is insane. So to be able to bring PFL back there would be a dream come true.
I hope that happens for you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Nice, right.
Thank you guys.